Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. It is Monday Night Lights. That's the name of the Monday night show. We finally figured it out. It's Monday Night Lights. Welcome. And we're going to call this, because we got a new name, Tim, we're going to call this episode 1.
Episode 1
of Monday Night Lights.
Okay. I can live with it.
We're gonna get some graphics. We're gonna change the background. It's gonna look all slick. You know, Travis. By the way, of course, Travis made the thumbnail, and Travis he's an artiste. Everything he touches just turns to gold. So shout out to Travis. Unfortunately, couldn't make it. He's got a birthday party, one of his kids' birthdays tonight. So there's,
you know what it really is. It's not that. It's not that at all. It's Tim took off 3 or 4 weeks. I'm going to take off 3 or 4 weeks. Let's just call a spade a spade. Travis is out because he didn't like it that I took off too many weeks.
He's making it up, isn't he? He's just sitting back.
I think so.
He's drinking a beer, just laughing.
Sitting back, listening, go watch these guys mess up. Watch them mess up in the first 5 minutes.
Well, he's going to want to be a part of this one. We got some very interesting information we're going to talk about. Now, I first saw this earlier today about Collin Green and the wide receivers. Now, this is from the 2024 locker room. This is from the receivers locker room. Sorry, I mean the receiver room in 2024. This is, from what I understand, not in the spring, not something that just happened. This is from last year. So we're going to get to that here in just a second. Make sure you guys like, share, hit the subscribe button. Shout out, of course, speaking of our boy Travis Ford, Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company. They offer same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results, emergency service 24/7, 365 days a year. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead, long-time sponsor of the show, the first sponsor of the show, and by God, he's even here on Monday nights sometimes. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to fire away in the comment section. Alongside me tonight, and I'm really bad about introducing people. Obviously, you guys know who Tim is.
He needs no introduction.
You don't need an introduction, and neither does Travis, but like I always fail to like, oh, by the way, with me tonight is Tim Neal. So I need to make that clear. But my boy Tim Neal. All right. Let's play this clip if it'll allow me. I always seem to have. This is from Collin Wilson. So this is where all this is coming from. I had people are like, what's going on with this? This is where it this is where it started. If I could pull it up really quick. Well, now it's,
while you're pulling it up, welcome to the show, Paul Raymond. We do know who it is.
What up, Paul? How you doing, man? Here we go. I got it. All right. We're going to share this bad boy right here.
Here we go.
Here it is. This is Collin Wilson from the Action Network headquarters. I don't know why
find that one.
It keeps vanishing. It's like popping off the screen. There it is. Here we go.
There we go.
Is Arkansas under 5.5 wins? Which, look, Sam Pittman is perpetually on the hot seat. Interestingly enough, because I know the Arkansas fans, and I'm sure, Collin, this is a pretty frequent topic of discussion in that cutthroat Arkansas sports radio market.
Yeah,
I think he has to go 4-8 for the buyout to drop to 50% instead of 75. But you only got to go 5-7 for this to cash. That schedule's brutal.
Yes. Yeah, I think the good feelings with Sam Pittman are over for the fan base. It's not for me. Since we see Sam at the beginning of the season and you talk with him off camera and off microphone, he's like the greatest guy in the world. But, he had medical issues last year. He was doing practice from a cart. He's pretty hands-off with the team, and he allows his coordinators to do their job. The transfer portal, I mean, there was some stuff with Miles Slusher a couple of years ago that really internally was bad. But let's talk about this team, like, number-wise. Project 4.7 on them, a little bit over 56% experience. The wide receiver, I think what people don't know about this team is that the wide receiver unit came to Bobby Petrino and Sam Pittman after the season and said, Collin Green's got to go or we're out of here. And that might be breaking news to everybody, but this is exactly what happened. Isaiah Satania went to OU. Luke Haas, the tight end, left. He was never getting any balls. He left and went to Ole Miss. Andrew Armstrong declared for the draft, and Isaac Tesla got picked up by the NFL.
Okay. Thoughts?
Yeah, so right out the gate, Andrew Armstrong didn't have a choice. Luke Haas broke his back or whatever. Every time he caught a ball and ran 5 yards, he was grabbing his lower back like he was dying, like he was an old man. And Tesla, what was he supposed to do when he was getting drafted, and especially as high as he was? I mean, maybe it's true. You might have something to share on that, but to me, that sounds like a load of rubbish. It sounds like rubbish because all of those things actually are true. And Satania, my opinion on Satania, when you're 5'2" and 105 pounds, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be the man. He was fast, kind of had good hands. He had an amazing catch last season, but at the end of he was better than Broden.
Okay, but let's be fair. There are plenty of 5'10", 5'11" slot receivers who are fine. I mean, Jarius Wright. How tall was Jarius Wright and Joe Allen?
Yeah, but my point was he was never going to be the man. So if he thought he was going to go somewhere else and be the man, he would leave anyway, regardless, because he was not going to be the man on the receiving corps.
I don't think so either. And I think you're right. And you and I talked about the fit as to whether or not Santana, well, not just him, Luke has. I mean, that does matter. Petrino came in after some of these guys. So there is always a question of fit. Here's what I'm going to say. You guys know when I hear something like this, I'm immediately texting people that I trust. This was a surprise to me. Had we heard that Santana was unhappy, yeah, that's not breaking news. That was kind of out there that Santana was not happy with his targets. And by the way, I'll pull that up here in just a second. But yeah, he was not super high on the target list. Obviously, Andrew Armstrong was high on the target list for from Taylor Green. If you look on the year, it's 118 targets to Andrew Armstrong, and then Santana's not even half that. He's 54. Then it goes to Broden at 44, Tesla at 36, Luke has at 31, and then Jordan Anthony was targeted 16 times, and then after that it just really drops. CJ Brown, as it always does, right? In any offense, CJ Brown with 8 targets. Anyways, what I understand is that there could be a certain level of truth to this, that it does sound like there might be something. I'm not going to lie. The first 2 people, both of them responded. Again, these are people I very much trust. We're like, I don't know anything about this. Someone did, and someone did reach out, and he had no clue. He was like, wait a minute, what is this? And so he was like, I'll get back to you. He eventually does a little while later, and he says, okay, there might be some truth to this. Now, if again, you heard the guy in the video, he makes it out like the entire wide receiver room went to Sam Pittman and complained about Taylor Green. You and I kind of talked about this before we went live. I think it's very possible that at least Santana and maybe Luke that was maybe a part of their grief. That was part of their grief. However, talking with someone who has talked to these families said that was never brought up, that there was nothing about receivers, around, I guess maybe this happened in December. I don't know. There was nothing about a meeting between the receiver unit and Sam Pittman about Green. It's either Green or us. And here's another thing. Imagine if this were to be true. And again, I hate to do this thing where we're it's gossip. Well, no, it's not. I mean, this guy is a member of the media. Okay. Right. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. This guy, Collin Wilson, works for Action Network headquarters, and he's reporting this. So this has now been elevated above just nonsensical rumors. This is someone who I guess is from the state of Arkansas. I don't know. He's got Woo Pig Sooie in his profile. He's got 27,000 followers. And again, he works for Action Network headquarters, which has 233,000 total followers. I mean, this guy, I'm going to be real. I've never heard of him. I don't know who he is, but and that's not a slight on him. Something tells me though, there could be a level of truth to this. But on the other hand, I wonder how much is true. Like, did the entire receiver room really go to Pittman? And also, if that's true, here we go again with issues in the locker room, or at least players feeling so motivated. Think of this. the entire receiving room, as he's reporting, went to Pittman about this?
Yeah.
That's pretty big, if you want my opinion. That's actually like, what the hell? How did that slip through the crowd? Or how are we just now hearing this?
Yeah. That's a bold statement anyway, because you're saying get rid of the starting quarterback. I mean,
It's him or us.
Him or us? And for Green to still be here after that, that's kind of a statement. Like, okay, see you guys. And that's why I kind of think not that they would get rid of Green, but there would have to be some kind of negotiation there, some kind of promises made or something. But again, you're talking about the guys that he listed. Armstrong was gone. Tesla was going pro, obviously had enough interest to make him think he could go pro. and Hogs was injured all season. So, his production was low for a reason. So he didn't list anybody there that would really surprise you.
Well, yeah.
He's not, in my opinion. You're not surprised by any of those three.
No, and he mentions this is where it's like, again, this individual said half of this is just nonsensical because Armstrong and Tesla were going pro.
Right.
Like, regardless. So to bring those two names up was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you just stick with Lucas and Centennial like that. Okay. Who else though? What other names? Like, we kind of already knew. I had heard that there were maybe some issues with the lack of targets outside of Andrew Armstrong. I mean, listen, Armstrong caught, he didn't exactly have a Treylon Burks receiver's reach. Like, he couldn't just catch everything around him, but he didn't drop a lot of balls. Ran clean routes. It was good enough in that offense, and it was a great fit in that offense. And not only that, but he was here the year before, had SEC experience. You could talk about maybe like, why did Broden get all those targets? Why was Broden such a
on scholarship? Why was he on scholarship at all? My Lord.
Pooh Bear says, why would they go to Pittman when it's Bobby Petrino's offense and Bobby Petrino's quarterback? Well, because Pooh Bear, I see what you're saying, but Sam Pittman is the head coach.
He's the CEO. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's where you're going to go. If you have issues, you're supposed to go to the head coach.
Yeah, agreed. Unbiased Bram earlier said, how could Satania not be a key part of the offense? And I wasn't saying he wouldn't be a key part. I was saying he wouldn't be the man. He would never be wide receiver one. He's a slot guy. He's always a slot guy. Super fast, decent hands, not big enough to be a wide receiver one. Just my opinion.
I don't know. I was a little surprised at his lack of production. And again, I know people, want to take this back to Green, or they want to take it back to Petrino or whatever. I don't know, man. I mean, it's not like the guy was a freshman or even a redshirt freshman. I mean, he never exactly blew up here. I do think he could have been a key part of the offense. And at times, it certainly seemed like he was going to be. And let's not forget, he also, if I remember correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong, he did have a drop. He had a drop tutty. He had a drop touchdown. It was a really well-thrown ball by Green. And there was another time where he targeted, again, I think this was maybe Missouri. I can't remember. But Green throws a really nice ball. He scrambles out of the pocket, and the safety just at the last second made a really good play on the ball, and Centennial was the target. So it's not as if Centennial was never targeted or never part of the offense ever. However, there is a good argument to be made that what the hell happened at tight end and Lucas, and would this be something Lucas would have done? Everyone I've talked to said no. There was no complaint. There's no word from Lucas as far as, and I mean complain like going to the coach about it's either Green or me. That's not something I've heard, and this is from people who have talked to his family.
I mean, it was broken half the season, though. Really,
he did. You're right. We definitely saw him reaching for his back. I saw it. And I think the Oklahoma State game, was one where he was reaching for his back.
And it continued the rest of the season. He never played the way he played the previous season.
John Haas says he had a route where Green threw a good ball and Centennial just stopped running. I think I remember that, actually. That stands out because I seem to remember thinking, what the hell? That could have just been miscommunication between the wide receiver and the quarterback. Who knows? But, yeah, I mean, listen, man, it's you look at the stars next to his name, and I think people get enamored with that. and then they blame the system or they blame the quarterback or the offensive coordinator as to why that 4-star isn't living up to those expectations. Listen, I'm not saying Centennial may be awesome in Oklahoma. I don't know. They got a new quarterback over there. They seem to be pretty excited about that offense. Maybe he goes over there and he explodes. I don't know. I'm going to be real. I have not checked in on Oklahoma this year, nor have I checked in on Notre Dame to see how Washington's doing up there. I think someone said he was struggling with the threes or something. Maybe I read that wrong. But at the end of the day on this, I do think there might be a level of truth to it. Again, we're going to have to chalk this up to we're not going to know anything until these guys are on a podcast 3 or 4 years down the road and they're talking about their time at Arkansas. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. There's a new damn podcast every week, and former players and coaches are getting on these things. So maybe we'll find something out, and I think that's what we're going to have to chalk this up to. But I'm not going to lie. I was at Harps. I was doing a little shopping. My wife's making chicken quesadillas tonight for dinner, and I got that text, and he was like, there could be some truth to this. Again, no specifics were given. Don't know. Wasn't given names. Wasn't told that it was the entire room. This could have been the conversation that Centennial and Pittman had, and maybe this guy's just kind of going off that and saying the entire room. I'm not sure. I guess we'd have to ask him. But it is a sign, though, of here we go again, more drama. I'll say this. At least it doesn't sound like it was toxic. It doesn't sound like the receivers were, just throwing crap at Green or the other way around, Green at them. It sounds like they had an issue and they took it to the head coach. It's just strange, though, to hear it from an entire – if it's true that an entire wide receiver or any room, it could have been the offensive line, could have been the defensive line, whatever, for them to all go to the coach and be like, we got a problem. And this is what's up. So I don't know. We saw Centennial running his mouth at Oklahoma.
Well, if you're not going to run your routes, at least run your mouth. So
listen, man, I wish him the best. I do. I've had him on here. He was on here. I did an interview with him like 3 years ago. Good kid, man. I've only ever heard from people at Fayetteville. Only ever heard great things about him and his family. Of course, he comes from a track family. He was one I wanted to see finish out here, and the same with Luke Has as well. But going back to what this guy said, though, it is half of what he said just kind of doesn't make sense.
Right.
Some of the names he dropped, I'm kind of going, wait, what? These guys were going to the pros anyways.
Right. It doesn't sound legitimate, but
not fully, at least.
Yeah.
I guess he's an Arkansas guy. His banner on his profile is literally standing in front of a Razorback with like a hog. Unfortunately, it's got the forward-facing hog behind him, but it looks like it's I don't know what it is. My screen's a little fuzzy, but so he must be reporting from Arkansas. I don't know, or maybe he's a grad from here and he works for Action Network. And I'm not trying to delegitimize him at all. I think Collin Wilson, from what I gather, I think he does pretty good work here. Retweets a lot of Razorback baseball stuff, but I just would like to know if maybe he made a mistake in saying the entire wide receiver room. And the other reason why I'm confused by that, something like that normally doesn't slip past local media.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You guys tell me.
Kind of have to question, too, the negativity coming out about Arkansas lately. This is the second week in a row that you and I have talked. Last week it was Andrew Armstrong was a character issue.
I know, right?
Last week it's Andrew Armstrong was a character issue. This week the wide receivers tried to get the quarterback thrown off the team. What's going on with Arkansas and the media this couple of weeks?
I don't know. I don't know, but you're right. Yeah, we talked about Andrew Armstrong last week. And stuff that was also just seemed to be unfounded, even though it sounded like some of it was from before he came on at Arkansas.
Sure.
Trying to read here. I can't stand Sam Pittman. This is from Eric Musselman's Ghost. I can't stand Sam Pittman, but I'm surprised at the way he has lost multiple locker rooms. Thought he would be very good at that. Yeah,
well, he's calling a player's coach, right?
Player's coach, right? Exactly. He also says disaster program, disaster coach, so ready for change. Man.
Okay.
It's getting I get it. Fans are just over this. And again, this is like throwing fuel on top of the fire with this sort of stuff. I mean, it really is. People are already, again, like the guy said, Sam Pittman. I have literally at a pro day, he has walked with people and just will talk with you as if you're just a normal guy. He did it with me like twice at practice. He is a good guy. I hate that this sort of stuff happens. And of course, you want any coach to be successful at Arkansas, but especially a guy who I've said before, he may not be from Arkansas, but he is from the region. He gets these people. It kind of feels like one of us, just like with Houston Nutt. That was one of the things people loved about Houston Nutt, right? But then, of course, you heard about the good old boy system, and everyone was so tired of it.
Well, there was a lot that went down with the Malzahn thing, and it split the fan base so bad.
Especially in Springdale.
Yeah, especially in Springdale. Josh Pro said Tesla has a big complaint. He's tall, athletic, fast, and has great hands. And arguably, he's a third-round draft pick wide receiver. He was underutilized, underappreciated. I said that for a long time.
Yeah, you did.
Through the season, he was completely underutilized, never seeing the field half the time. So
it didn't make
any sense.
He follows that up with, but Green has zero time to throw. He would see the rush and either run or throw to Armstrong. Yeah, I think his ability to improvise outside of the pocket is pretty good. I'm not saying this is Vic. All right, I'm not telling you that this is the second coming of whoever. Name a great dual threat quarterback. Right? Yeah. But his ability to improv outside the pocket, it's not bad. And then on top of that, his arm strength, his raw arm strength, he's got a pretty impressive arm. It's just sometimes it's up here. You're just wondering. By the way, PFF just a few days ago, and I think this must have dropped. Yeah, it just dropped maybe on the 5th or the 6th. But the PFF has him currently, not that this is great, as the 10th quarterback for next year's draft. So I guess all you can do is climb up from there. I honestly, that doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me. I maybe would have guessed 8th, maybe. I don't know how strong this quarterback class is going to be. So, but just off the top of my head, without really knowing that, I probably would have put him somewhere around 8th, maybe 8th or 7th, at best 7th.
Yeah.
But he's got room to climb for sure. Cal is so refreshing. Love that guy. That's my coach for real. Yeah. So really quick, we got to talk some basketball. We've got some recruiting coming up here in just a second. Before we do, Tim, did you know that Arkansas didn't get swept this last weekend?
I actually knew that. I was sitting in a pizza place just outside of Tawnytown watching that game.
Guido's, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Guido's. I was sitting at US Pizza.
Okay.
But on 412, yeah, US Pizza on 412.
Shout out.
Actually celebrating Mother's Day with my mom while watching the Razorbacks on that final game, and none of us were allowed to leave. If you want to know what kind of Razorback family the Neal family is, we were not allowed to leave till that game was over.
Nice.
So
nice. That's a proper family right there.
That's right.
So I made a mistake in the post game. Oh my Lord, dude, I got torched for this after the Monday night, the Saturday night game. Arkansas gets run ruled 13-3, and I'm reading off my screen. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know Tennessee or LSU's like their history as far as like on the year, and I'm trying to scroll down and look at it all. And to be fair, you could zoom out on your computer screen if you hold down Control and then you can actually zoom in and out of your page. Well, D1 I had scrolled way too out, and I was having to go back and read, and I incorrectly said that Tennessee had beaten LSU 2 out of 3. I was incorrect. I even corrected myself in the comment section, and I got rolled for that, dude. Someone told me, and I think these were LSU fans. I think, I don't know. I know I've got some Hog fans that hate my guts, but they still they hate watch me,
Yep. That's what I do.
That's what half the crowd probably does. But I corrected myself, and this guy told me to do my research. Fair. Okay, fair. He wasn't wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. He wasn't wrong. But I did something I've never done before. And because there were some unsavory comments and even stuff that YouTube was sending me emails about in my comment section, I just turned the comment section off. It's the first time I've ever had to do that, dude. Over 1,000 videos on Tusk Talk with Ty, formerly known as PTN, Pig Trail Network.
Yep.
First time ever I had to close down my comment section because I was wrong, because I got it mixed up. Bro, of all the things I have said on this show, I got into an argument defending DVH in that chat, like big time. I had to time a Kyle out. Someone went full-blown Kyle. Damn Kyle. Don't go full-blown Kyle. It's okay to be like mediocre Kyle. Don't go full-blown Kyle. I had a full-blown Kyle meltdown in my chat, and we're going back and forth about DVH. I'm defending DVH. Wild claims getting hurled out there left and right, and I'm dodging bullets. I don't get dragged for that at all. I get hit because I mistakenly said that Tennessee had beaten LSU, that they had taken 2 out of 3.
Why do people care? I don't care about either of those teams anyway. Guys, come on.
And by the way, no one in live chat corrected me. So and it's not their fault. It's my fault. I definitely should have known that. Should have had that up better. I've got D1 zoomed out because when I'm going through all their schedule and posting that in Discord, I have to zoom all the way out. If you go and if you read what's it called? I've got a whole page dedicated to the upcoming opponent. So someone in chat's gonna get it here in a second. But anyways, scouting report. In order to post the schedule, I have to zoom all the way the hell out. So it was left out. And I swear to God, I'm dyslexic. I got it wrong. My bad. So again, I've been wrong about shit so many times on this live. I get some things right. I get some things wrong. I don't pretend to sit here and be some damn expert about, especially college baseball, because it's not something I really exclusively cover here. So until the end of the year, until we get to postseason baseball, then I start doing lives. Anyways, the live chat was great. It was fun. It wasn't fun that Arkansas got blown out. That was embarrassing, Tim. 13-3, getting run ruled by LSU. To be fair, they are the number 3 team. Arkansas did not fall as far back as I thought they would, according to D1.
Yeah. According to I had it pulled up here somewhere.
Are you talking about their ranking?
Yeah. According to one of the other ones, LSU took number 1. I want to say it was Baseball America. Had LSU at number 1, Arkansas at number 8.
Oh, okay.
So
wow. Well, I think on let me see. This is, for whatever reason, D1's being stupid, and it's giving me an old rank here. D1 moved Arkansas back, just not as far as I thought they would. I think they kept them in the I think they kept them in the top 10. Let me pull this up.
Yeah,
really
someone dropped them to 5. That may be the one that dropped them to 5.
I don't know why I'm getting April 28th. It will not pull up today's rank, and I don't know why it's doing that. Anyways, yeah, they kept Arkansas in the top 10. I think D1 put them at like 8. Is that what you said? 8.
Baseball America put them at 8.
Baseball America did. Okay. Did Arkansas's Twitter post anything? Did they? Sometimes they'll post all the ranks. Anyways, did you watch any of the games this weekend? Did you watch the run rule game 2?
No, thankfully I was otherwise occupied.
Okay. It was absolutely grotesque, as you can imagine. Here we go. There's your in the polls. The Writers Association kept Arkansas in the top 5. USA Today coaches in the top 5. Baseball America 7th. Nobody dropped them out of the top 10.
Yeah,
I guess this isn't totally surprising.
I mean, after we swept Texas and Texas stayed number 1, I don't think we should fall far for losing 2 out of 3 to LSU. Oh, that's not really fair.
They have lost, 3 of their final 4 so far? 3 of the last 4 series?
Yeah.
Dude, Tennessee is going to be hungry coming in here Thursday night. Bro, they have looked like booty cheeks.
Yeah.
They lost this weekend to Vanderbilt. I don't know if you caught that or not, but there was a little back and forth.
Skirmish at the end of it.
Little skirmish. Some folks got a little angry there.
Yeah.
James M says, you mean you're human, Ty. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're not allowed to be human. You're media.
Well, again,
my bad.
I expected blowback. I even told my wife I got into it with someone over DVH. And before, that has usually caused a stir in comments in the comment section. And nobody said a thing. And I was surprised by that because I did defend DVH. I did defend him, and I will continue to do so. I think I'm not someone, especially given Arkansas's history in any sport, I just don't believe that it's always that the grass is always greener on the other side of the hill. Well, however, you never know, right? It does feel like the program is built, though, if you get the right guy in place. If DVH, let's say he does retire, which is the more likely outcome than him getting fired. Let's say he settles down and says, you know what, I'm done, rides off into the sunset. If you get the right guy, it feels primed for someone to come in here and turn Arkansas into a machine.
Yeah, I mean,
even more
the thing that I'm never a fan of is a guy who gets you there over and over again. Even if you don't win, I know he may not get you over the hump, but you don't just get rid of people that get you there. And I say that from watching. I know a lot of people don't care about women's basketball except when it comes to Mike Neighbors and how much they hate him. But when I was at the University of Arkansas, it was Gary Blair.
Yeah.
And Gary Blair took them to the tournament over and over and over again, but he couldn't get it done. And so they just didn't renew his contract when the contract was over.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't been terribly successful since. And he went to Texas A&M and won a national championship. So, you've got a Dave Van Horn who gets you there over and over and over again. And there's always a chance he's going to get over the hump and win the big one. Without an idiot second baseman, we have won the big one.
Yeah.
One guy cost everything. But I just am not a fan of the people who expect you to get rid of that guy who gets you there, because not every coach can get you there in the first place.
Yeah, it's not easy. I know we do this thing where we compare apples and oranges, where it's like, well, basketball's harder, football's harder. Although, what the hell, football changes every damn year. It looks like the 16-man playoff might be a reality here in the next couple of years. But baseball is freaking hard. I don't care about the double elimination thing. Like, you think about it, you're wearing down your bullpen. You got to go through an SEC tournament, and then if you're good enough, you're either going to host or go to a regional. And then if you're really good, you're going to go to a super regional, or if you're really, really good, you're going to host a super regional if you're top 8 seed. And then if you're damn good, you're going to make it to Omaha. But by then, and I realize it kind of resets a little bit. You get a little bit of time to rest, but now you're in Omaha, and God only knows what you're going to deal with there. It's just I think I've said this before here. It's like you're playing 2 different seasons. You've got the regular season, like it's its own damn battlefield, especially in the SEC. By the way, second best record in the conference still, I'm pretty sure. And then you've got the postseason, which is, it's just a monster. It is so hard. I mean, there's a reason why Florida State has been to like 500 College World Series and never won. And then you get teams like South Carolina who won back-to-back titles and then vanished, right? Look at Mississippi State and Ole Miss right now. So it's a weird sport, man. And again, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again like we did Saturday night, but I don't know if DVH, that might be his ceiling, is just getting to Omaha. That might be his ceiling. I just don't know if I want to roll the dice. And again, I know he did sign an extension. I don't know the amount and for how long, but he did sign an extension. He also will have the option, I'm sure, to retire, like where it doesn't hit him too much. He doesn't have a big penalty against him. But I think I don't know that I'd want to roll the dice and root for him to leave, to retire. I just don't think I would rather be in the situation where it's like, damn, dude, we might actually be good enough this year.
Yeah, for sure. That's where I stand on that for sure. I'm not about running off successful coaches.
You saw he's over. I have the number here. Pull this up. Kind of crazy. times. Now I know this is like I don't know how much you take this as like a big win or anything, but times actually swept in SEC play. Can you guess off the top of your head how many times Arkansas has been swept since 2017? Chat, you too. I'll give you a minute. How many times has Arkansas been swept since 2017 in conference? Da, 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 da,
Let's say 10, 15
15 times
in 8 years.
since 2017. So yeah.
Okay. 15.
Okay. 15. Chat.
Lots of low numbers there. 2, 5, 2, 2, 1. Maybe I should go to Chat GPT. Maybe I sound stupid.
I will say you're definitely on the high end. You definitely are. But Brian Frazier is wrong.
How many times has Arkansas baseball been swept in an SEC series since 2017?
Twice.
Is it 2 for real?
It's 2. It's the fewest, and it's 6 fewer than LSU. It's the fewest times of any team in the SEC. I wonder how that ranks with other P3 or P4 schools. I wonder where that's at. It's got to still be top 3. I was shocked by this. This is time swept since 2017. Feel free to Google it. Maybe I'm wrong. I've got it.
No, ChatGPT agreed with you. It actually says 2018 Mississippi State and 2023 Georgia.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. LSU's at 8, which, okay, single digits, right? Georgia, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, 10 times.
Oof.
Missouri, oh my God. You know how many times Missouri's been swept since 2017?
More times than they haven't?
31. Dude, oh my God. You guys think Arkansas football is bad? Oh my God. That, I don't know, man. And Alabama's at 20. So that's Alabama and 20. Obviously, Oklahoma and Texas are not on this list. But Alabama 20. South Carolina 15, which is a little surprising. Again, considering they won back-to-back World Series, they were considered up there with LSU as far as like baseball programs. Mississippi State's at 15, Florida at 14, Auburn at 14, Ole Miss at 13. So, wow. By the way, shout out to the super chat, King Command. Let me read this, man. I had this up. Vitello running Tennessee baseball like the mafia or something. Yeah.
Breaking their legs after games.
He takes it a little too far. I get it. He takes it a little too far. He does. The antics get a little like, okay, wait a minute. That's not really baseball, but I'm not going to get butthurt over it, though. I'm just not. I get it. It's a little, especially when you're playing them. They're going to be primed, man. They're going to come in here. It is a must-win situation for them. So, Tennessee baseball again started off the year pretty strong, and then have kind of they fell on their face a little bit. Yeah, 2 times since 2017. That is absolutely wild. All right. Let's move on to some basketball really quick. Have you ever heard of a player by the name of Sean Andrews?
No, tell me about Sean Andrews.
He's got a kid who's really damn good at basketball, playing at Little Rock Christian Academy. 4-star, 6'6", 220 pounds. He's pretty sure he is a unanimous 4-star. Really good player, good talented player. Raw plays well on both ends of the floor. Has a bunch of offers: Oklahoma, Marquette, LSU, Arkansas, NC State. His last official visit, according to 247, was Oklahoma. So he's going to announce. By the way, this is for the 2026 class, 6'6", 220. He is. I wanted to pull up that 26 class really quick.
He's ranked 42nd, right? I want to say he's ranked 42nd in that class.
I think so. I think he is a top 50. with room to possibly grow. With room
24/7 actually has him 37th.
Okay. So he's gonna make his decision on Thursday, May 15th. And in Arkansas, the finalist is LSU, and this is from On3. I know they just it's like On3's lost a little bit of credibility over the time. Again, the thing with Collin Wilson, he's not a part of On3. Okay, he was just being interviewed by On3, talking about the wide receiver drama from earlier, but that was a part of an On3 thing. But On3 is saying that Thursday the finalists are LSU, Arkansas, Missouri, which that's been confirmed. He's going to announce. I don't have a time yet. I'm assuming it's going to be after school or it could be at lunch. I don't know. You know how this works with the NIL packaging. Right now, I'll just Patreon, I think, has been on top of this. He is, from what I understand, he is a lean to Arkansas. I mean, obviously, right? I mean, the connection.
How big of a miss do you feel like it is? Not just him, but how big of a miss do you feel like it is to lose legacy players? And especially if they're that good. It's one thing if it's one thing if it's Michael Jordan's son not going to North Carolina because he sucked in the first place. But when you have Sean Andrews, who was amazing, and his son is an amazing basketball player, how big of a miss is it that your legacy kid doesn't come to Arkansas? I feel like that's a big miss. Okay. I feel like if they're good, like if Corliss Williamson has a kid and he is a beast just like his dad and he doesn't come to Arkansas, like that's huge. If his kid's not any good, you don't bring him in because he's Corliss Williamson's son. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To me, if they're good, legacy should play a role, and you should go after those kids hard.
Well, as long as, like you said, as long as they're good and they're worthy of a scholarship, of course. It'd be like Darren McFadden, right?
Yeah.
Peyton Hillis. They had sons growing up. I think Darren McFadden has a kid by the name of Diesel. He was playing Little League ball, and I can remember that somehow creeped into the media a long time ago. It was in a little, I don't remember where I read that at, but his son was playing ball. And he was really good. Of course, he was like 5. But I think it's Diesel McFadden. That would hit different if, let's say, he goes on, he's a 5-star, highly rated 4-star, hell, even a 3-star. To see the name McFadden and knowing you have that connection to a Darren McFadden, that's his kid, and he's not in a Razorback jersey, that would hit pretty hard. Maybe it depends on the player. Sean Andrews' kid, obviously Sean was a big deal when he was here. He went on to the NFL, was a good player. If I remember right, he had a history of back issues.
He was a monster for the Eagles for a while.
He was a really good player. Good player. So yeah, Ty, serious question. By the way, thank you for the super chat, King Command. I appreciate that, man. Serious question. I know this is going to have something to do with Hunter Yurchak, I'm sure. Ty, serious question. Nope. Why would anyone even spend time discussing 2026 recruits? The chances of those guys actually making it on campus are slim to none. Well, hold on. I don't know about making it to campus. Too much uncertainty with the staff.
The reason you talk about a JJ Andrews is because he's a legacy. Because he's so good, because he's a legacy. You may not talk about the kid from Maine or New Hampshire or Oregon because they have no real ties. And you're right, they might not come. It might just, NIL or whatever happens. But a JJ Andrews is a legacy. You to me, it's important you get that kid here.
And he's a damn good player. I mean,
that's my point.
Yeah, I get it. Like, having that last name, being Sean Andrews' kid, he's a big deal. Sean Andrews is still regarded by many as one of the better offensive linemen to ever come out of Arkansas, or at least his time here, for sure. And he obviously went on to the NFL. Just making a roster is a big deal. Just making a roster and then being able to start and so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, you're talking about the number 1 player in the state of Arkansas in that class. He's a top 20 forward, and he's a nationally ranked, according to 247, top 50 player. Yeah, I would probably be more upset from that angle than it being Sean Andrews' kid. But I also understand what you mean. Like you get these guys, like we already mentioned, Peyton Hillis or Darren McFadden or, guys like that, right? And they have, I can't think of any off the top of my head. They have lost guys before who maybe wasn't the son of a player, but a little brother of a player.
Sure.
Think about Marcus Monk and his little brother and all that.
And Wingo, Ronnie Wingo's brother.
Oh, Ronnie Wingo's brother. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we've definitely lost some. And you could maybe confirm this. I've always heard rumors that, and I can't confirm it, that we had a thing about in-state players, that there was kind of an expectation that you would come to Arkansas, and so you may not get a scholarship offer right away. You may get a come walk on here because you are supposed to be here because you're an in-state player, and that we never really treated them with the value that we should have in the past.
I can remember that being a rumor for sure.
It's a rumor. I don't know if it's true.
I don't know how much legitimacy there was to it. But yeah, I think there probably are some players if they're not, and I hate to say this, but if they're not an upper echelon, highly recruited 3 or 4 star, I say 3 because you're Arkansas, you do still take majority 3 stars in your class, then yeah, they probably did ask you to walk on. Well, I mean, we know that was the case, whether they were legacy or not. I think that probably did upset some parents. And that's kind of where I think some of that started, where the parents were getting upset about, well, they're wanting my kid to walk on and, whatever. Crazy we didn't get Ronnie Wingo's little brother. I remember that, man. Yeah, and he was a 5-star receiver out of high school. I thought for sure, especially with, Ronnie Wingo, good player here, apparently loved the area. I was a little surprised by that, but not shocked. I mean, it's not like Arkansas was lighting the world on fire or anything. So also sticking with basketball, we have the scrimmage, the NBA combine stuff's going on. I think they reported on Sunday. I did not mention this to you as far as something we were going to talk about today, but it did just pop up on my screen. Apparently Knox reported in at a little smaller than people thought that he would. I'm trying to pull this up. Just barely over 6 foot or 6'6". Sorry, don't. Barely over 6.
Take him down, chat. Take him down.
Could you imagine? Wow, that's the tallest 6-footer I've ever seen. 6 foot, just a little over 6'6", 218 pounds with a 7-inch wingspan, 8.5 standing reach. That's a Duthero. My bad. That's a Duthero, not Carter Knox. So that was a do. We have. I'm trying to pull up my Patreon discussion here really quick. They dropped some good stuff on Knox. Carter Knox reported in a little bit smaller. I think he reported in like 6'5". Yeah, Carter Knox 6'6" or 6'5". I swear they had a link. We can always just go to Twitter. I don't know, and you and I talked about this last week about the importance of getting Carter Knox back. How that flips everything. Here we go. Arkansas, Carter Knox. Let's see his measurements from the 2025 NBA Draft Combine. 6'5", barefoot. Again, this is Carter Knox. He's 214 pounds with a 6'10" wingspan. Okay, and 8'6" standing reach. So that's Carter Knox. So he's not the 6'6", borderline 6'7", as some people were trying to tell me. He is 6'5", but barefoot.
Yeah, so he's 6'6" in shoes. I mean, it's not like you play basketball barefoot.
Yeah, well, it's like some
6'6". I don't know why they measure you without shoes. That's stupid because you're not going to play without shoes.
Someone recommended, I remember a long time ago when I was first starting to do these live shows, a long time ago, and we were talking about the NFL draft, and someone said, why don't they do all the NFL combine stuff in full pads? Like, wouldn't that make more sense to get a better measurement on just how well a player could play in full pads? And I at first laughed at it. And the longer I thought about it, I was like, you know what?
It makes sense.
I kind of get it because you're not going to run a 4.32 40 in full pads. Okay, it's just not going to happen. It just gives you an idea of how damn fast you are without all the gear on. I mean, it definitely you're adding a little bit of weight, uncomfortability. I don't know how many people in chat have ran with full pads on. It's definitely not the same as most people could imagine, and it's going to slow you down a little bit. So the more I lingered on that and thought about it, I was like, damn, he might actually. And he was cooking me in live chat too, by the way. He was getting me good. I was like, he cooked me, and he was right. I think he might be onto something. Maybe not right, but he could be onto something. But they'll never do it.
Well, the other thing about the NFL Combine and the NBA for that matter is when they make you do bench and you bench 225 and you see how many times you can do it. Why is 225 an arbitrary number? A couple of 45s on each side of a 45-pound bar. Yeah. But why 225?
That's a good question.
And maybe chat can answer that. Why 225? And what is that really telling you? I can do it 17 times. I can bench 225 12 times right now.
Plenty of good players, defensive linemen, offensive linemen who don't dominate the 225 lift. I mean, obviously they're going to lift it and they can lift it 20, 30 times. But like, there's been plenty of players in the league who, you look at their draft number or their combine numbers on NFL.com, and you're like, wait a minute, he only lifted 225 like 28 times, and this guy's you're seeing the raw strength on
only
display.
28 times.
Yeah, most people can't do 225.
Yeah, well, most people can't do 200.
We're not all built like our friend Tim here. We're not all that, okay? We're not Mr. All Arms over here. You're all arms, Tim.
Apparently.
You're not skipping leg day, are you?
No, not remotely.
Yeah, John's right. Most people can't do 225. Hell, most people can't bench 175. I mean, that's why I think it's funny. 225 is standard weight in the gym. Okay. Oh boy. Well, I better. It's mainly endurance more than strength, honestly. Yeah, you're probably right. Transplant Texas says Knox 6'6" per Arkansas roster, 6'5" without shoes on per combine. And I'm going to tell you guys, that's very common. Schools don't always
take the shoes off.
Well, they're just not always accurate. Like, you can even see it out of the transfer portal. You'll get guys that are either 2 inches taller or 2 inches shorter, and then they go to the NFL Combine. It's like, oh damn, he's actually shorter and he weighs less. Schools do that all the time.
I think everybody does that. Did I tell you my WWE story?
Oh yeah, you did.
Not going to seeing Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
And he goes by me and he's like an inch taller than me at most. And they were listing him like 6'4" or something. I'm like, no, he's not.
Yeah, they used to do that a lot. They used to announce wrestlers at like 600 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that I don't know. That doesn't look like 600 pounds to me.
I was on the third row, 4 in from the aisle. He wasn't far enough from me for me to miss a couple inches that he was supposedly taller than me.
Well, and there's players and when I was a kid, when Houston Nutt was here back in the day, you could have open practices. Hell, you could damn near just walk on, not on the field, but you could walk to this wall where the practice field was, and you could just lean against the damn, not really a wall, but like a mound. And I can remember some of these players, of course, when you're a kid, they're massive. Well, Then I grow up, I'm able to go to practice, or I'm down on the football field before a game, and these guys walk by me, and I'll know them off the top of my head, and I'm like, okay, this dude's got cleats on, a helmet and pads, and they have him listed at 6'3", and yet I'm taller than he is with a helmet on. I'm not 6'6". I'm not 6'6". I'm tall, sure, but I'm not 6'6". So sometimes sometimes they just get it wrong. I mean, it just happens. Yeah. I think lately though they've gotten it right most of the time, or at least within an inch. But it is pretty common. Ties Jordan Anthony still quitting football due to track. I don't know what the hell's going on. He's torching it in track. Last thing I had ever heard was that it was not out of the realm of possibility that he could report in fall for fall camp. I guess he's got stuff going on. I don't know if he's going to report in the summer or not. If he's got stuff with track during the summer, I don't know their schedule. I don't know. I think it's up in the air right now. I really don't know. To be honest with you, though, Hog Blitz, how many receivers do they have on roster right now?
Isn't it like 15, 13?
It's about 27.
It's like 15.
It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. It's like 14. It's a lot. And to be fair, like I corrected myself. I'm always going to correct myself, guys. If you point out that I missed something, as long as you're not a complete asshat about it, I'll own up to it, right? You know, like, yeah, I got it wrong. But I did miss that they Petrino, when he was here the first time around, he did recruit pretty heavy in the receiver room. Not that I didn't know that. I just didn't think it was that many, where it was like 14 players. And he did do that. He had a habit of going out and getting receivers. Even guys you thought were kind of like a waste of an offer, waste of a scholarship. And I'm going to be real. They got a couple of those right now on the offensive side of the ball that are just a waste of an offer. They're a waste of scholarship, if you want my honest opinion. I'm not going to name them here, but there's some guys I'm just like, why are they here? But
high drama drives views.
I ain't doing that. I'm not one of those. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, they've got a lot. Listen, it'd be nice to get someone who's familiar with the system. I get that. He didn't exactly rip it up last year. But we'll see, right? Like, we'll see. I wouldn't be mad at it if he came back, but I would wonder, like, well, that feels like that might be someone who's probably not going to contribute a whole lot, especially after missing all of spring camp. And if he doesn't report until fall camp, if it's true, he might miss. Again, this is just something someone told me. I don't know. This is not confirmed by anybody. But again, he might have something going on over the summer. So you're going to miss spring camp. And let's say the possibility of missing summer camp, and he's going to report for fall camp. What would be the point of that? You're already behind. But
yeah,
I don't know. I could be wrong. Hell, he may show up for summer camp. Who knows? Do you think Turnover Green? Clever name. Do you think Turnover Green will be replaced either by bad play or injury this year with KJ Jackson? No.
You really haven't gotten to see him very much, right?
KJ Jackson?
No, Turnover Green.
Oh.
You haven't got to see Taylor Green very much.
I don't. Injury would be more likely.
Yeah, because he's still tiny is my question, right? Like, he hasn't put on any weight.
Tiny?
Yeah,
Taylor
he's got
Green?
two big legs.
Well, it is true. He's
got two big legs.
He is, yeah. You know, when you're 6'6", you can't skip leg day. And
right.
I think he does a little bit, but he's awfully quick with those skinny legs.
No, for sure. But if he was going to get hurt, it's tackling him at the knees.
Well, you remember the Tennessee game?
Grabbing his ankles, yeah.
The Tennessee game was exactly that. Of course, the way that was kind of a cheap play, in my opinion.
It was, absolutely.
But, yeah, I think that would be the more likely scenario. KJ Jackson is not going to beat out Taylor Green unless Taylor Green has just maybe like back-to-back, just ugly, turnover-prone, ugly games. Then maybe you'll see KJ Jackson in. I don't know if that happens. With this schedule, it probably could happen. What a brutal schedule this is. I don't know, but I think it'd be way more likely that it would be due to injury than just turning the ball over.
Speaking of this brutal schedule, Ty, what's your ceiling and floor for wins and losses?
Too soon. I always wait till fall. I can give you a rough estimate. I could tell you, again, just like briefly looking at just thinking of off the top of my head, their schedule and what our roster build kind of looks like.
Yeah.
What I do like is that these receivers do kind of mirror a little bit in size and stature and maybe even in some speed what those guys under Petrino did the first time in 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they've got a Jarius Wright, Joe Adams. They don't have a Greg Childs that I could see. They don't have a Chris Gregg. Although don't sleep on Rohan Jones. I'm telling you guys, do not sleep on that dude. I could see them being 6+ wins. I'm not saying that that's my guess. I'm not saying that's the ceiling or the floor, but I could see this team with the options they do have with Taylor Green coming back. And by the way, someone pointed out, I don't remember if this was on Twitter. It might have been in a YouTube comment. Someone had pointed out, Ty, I wouldn't look too hard at a quarterback in terms of like what they do year 2 under Petrino. And yet almost every quarterback has either done the same or better their second year under Petrino. But his argument was, well, they still threw ugly balls. Dude, okay,
It's performance. It's not what the ball looks like going out of his hand.
It's about getting there, and it's about
Mhm.
timing and all that, and knowing and understanding your role and what you're doing with that offense. Taylor Green, I'm going to tell you right now, everything that I heard out of spring camp, it was like this dude doesn't even have to think about the offense anymore. Like it's just he knows exactly what's coming up. He knows what to do. Now, again, it's going to be the on the field conditioning.
Right.
It's going to be the once the lights come on. I do agree he fumbles the damn ball too much. I hate the way he runs with the ball. It's very Matt Jonesy. Very Matt Jonesy. Matt used to run with that ball with just one hand. Go back and watch those highlight videos. I remember watching it live going, why is he not tucking the ball? But he is turnover prone. He isn't always in sync with his receivers. He does overthrow and underthrow. But again, like I said, in year one in Petrino's offense with a ragtag offensive line, kind of average overall receiving core, although I do agree that Tesla was underutilized, he still had almost 3,800 total yards of offense. He still had 4 total touchdowns on the year. If he could build off of that, I do think, and the guys around him, the offensive line's got to be better. I do think they could be in the 6+ win category. Again, that's not a deep dive. That's not where I'm at. My official pick, you guys know, I wait. Hell, I said last year I wasn't going to do it, and I don't remember if I did or not. I probably will this year, but it'll be after fall camp is done and over with, and we have a much better idea.
I think we coaxed it out of you early. I think Travis and I got you to say it early last year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
You might have.
I think we did. I still think it all comes down to offensive line. I haven't heard enough. Everything about the offense comes down to offensive line. I don't care how good he's gotten at throwing the ball. I don't care how good he's gotten at making quick decisions. It all comes down to offensive line. If they don't block for him, nothing else matters.
Exactly.
So
yeah, you're right. You're right. TJ ain't no Matt Jones though. Okay, I don't disagree. Matt Jones with a freak of nature. I've never seen anybody do the things that Matt could do. I think the argument, and this is the question, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm going to answer it. I would ask chat this. You can answer it. Who's the better thrower, Matt Jones or Taylor Green?
Oh,
Matt Jones was not a polished. I mean, come on. You know, that infamous throw to DeCorey Birmingham was an absolute it was a jackpot throw. Birmingham was in the right place at the right time, came down with the ball. But it was a hard, well-thrown ball. I say well-thrown. It was a Hail Mary. Let's be real. But Matt did not throw out of the pocket the way I think Taylor Green does. I just don't think he could. I don't think he could throw. Well, I said I wasn't going to answer it, but they're two different type of quarterbacks, right? Matt could just tuck it and was freaking gone. Was gobbling up yards, and you don't realize it watching it on television. He's gobbling up like 8 yards per stride. It was insane.
Yeah.
TV didn't do it justice. It wasn't until I saw it in person where I was like, oh my God, this guy's a freak. You're seeing him dunk the goalpost. Like, that dude was a pure athlete. I don't know if Green is that caliber of a runner. Matt Jones was better at, you could take the right angle at him and you still weren't going to catch him. Right. I don't think Green's got that, but Green can run. He's a very, very good runner. But I would say, especially when it comes to improvising outside of the pocket on throws, not on runs, Matt Jones is a far better runner, far higher IQ as a runner. But on throwing the ball and his ability to just make it up as he goes, Green is pretty damn good. And he's got a strong arm. He's just not always smart with it. You know, you can have all those mechanics in the world. It's got to be up here. And I think Green is still growing in that department.
Yeah, I think Matt Jones had a better running game supporting him, did he not?
That's my daughter Adeline, for some reason, is on YouTube. Ma'am, what are you doing? You are not old enough to be in this chat.
Notice your own daughter, please. My daughter would do this exact same thing for sure. 100%.
Where's your mother? And you should not be on. This is not on YouTube Kids, so I don't know what you're doing in here, ma'am. Matt Jones was from my hometown and played high school. Yeah, North Side. Yep. I always heard, and I always wanted to get this confirmed. I would love if I could get Matt Jones on this show, man. She wrote, "Sorry, man, Adeline." I am. We're gonna have a conversation after I'm done here, young lady. If it was true that Oklahoma offered him to play wide receiver, I've heard that. I remember hearing that back in the day. It might have been in the paper as a rumor. Maybe it was a Wally Hall thing. I don't know. I don't remember where I heard, but I had heard, and I swear I read that Oklahoma had offered him to play wideout. And I'm very curious. Yeah, Matt Jones did go to 1 year. Yeah, he transferred because they wouldn't let him play quarterback, if I remember right. And that's ultimately why he apparently had chosen to go to Arkansas. She's gone. She's
gonna come in that door now. She's like, "Sorry, Dad."
Yeah, she's in trouble. She ain't supposed to be on YouTube. Only YouTube kids. She wrote, "Sorry."
That's so funny.
Go brush your teeth, kid. It's almost bedtime. Ty, what do you think about Green? This coming up year with timing routes, I think that is key. Andrew Armstrong didn't have a problem with his timing. I know that much. I mean, you just got to pick more receivers. You just got to pick. It can't just be one guy all the time. I mean, I get it. There's plenty of teams that have done that over the years and have had success. Where one guy gobbles up all the targets.
It comes down to trust, right? I mean, if you're going to start Broden, that's not Green's fault, and that's not like Tesla's fault.
That's true.
That's
a really good point, actually.
You start Broden and you don't give him anyone to trust to throw the ball except Armstrong, and you build that relationship that way. It's not Tesla's fault. It's not Green's fault that he had Broden out there to throw to.
That is a very fair point that no one is. I've never heard anyone make that point. That's good. He didn't choose to get Broden out there.
No.
Right?
I don't think he went to Bobby and said, "Bobby, you got to play Broden. He's the one I want to throw to so he can drop as many balls as possible." I don't think that's how that conversation went.
Are you surprised when I mentioned the PFF has him as the 10th overall quarterback? Were you surprised by that?
10th overall in the country? Yes.
As a good surprise, or like, I thought it'd be higher?
No, I thought it would be lower.
Okay.
I definitely thought it would be lower. So.
Poor Broden, man.
He's got to catch smoke. He couldn't catch anything else. I mean, come on, man. He couldn't catch a cold.
Poor guy. Ty, Green has to have the ball in the air before the wide receiver breaks on the ball. He was not consistent with that last year. I really think, I'm not saying that these criticisms aren't valid, but how he still threw almost 61% completion percentage. And yeah, sometimes those are dump off throws, but if you actually look at the route tree and the receptions, he was throwing some pretty, at times, some low percentage throws, throws that you don't typically complete. It's a double-edged sword if I've ever seen one. He's the most double-edged sword quarterback I think Arkansas has ever had, in both a good way and a not so good way. I'll say it one more time, his ability out of the pocket to make things happen. And yeah, he could scramble around and run for a first down while leaving people in his dust. And when you talk about Matt Jones, go watch any of his highlights when he would just run around in circles. Defenders are trying to chase him and he just takes off.
It was like old Tecmo Bowl.
It was
like old Tecmo Bowl running around and they all get in a line behind him.
We keep getting asked this, and I'm going to tell you guys, William, we talked about at the beginning of the live. I don't typically like going back on things we already left behind. You just need to go back and watch it from the beginning. But it was essentially someone had reported that the receiver room, not just one player, the entire unit went to Sam Pittman about Talon Green. It wasn't any one specific player, even though I think that was probably more likely the case for maybe one or two guys. But again, we're not going to rehash that. You can go back and listen to the conversation that we have about it, and we actually play the video. So I recommend you do that. It's crazy that that Broden was awesome in practice. Well, not really though, Kyle. Thank you for not going full blown, Kyle. Not really, because there's plenty of guys that just practice at a high level, and then once the lights come on, that's not unheard of. But it was, I agree with you, the catches he was making, he was leaving people in the dust. Obviously, this dude could run. Broden was fast. You kind of understand why they liked him so much with that size and speed. It just, once the lights come on, he really struggled, and he struggled and couldn't catch contested balls, couldn't catch wide open balls. I mean, couldn't do it.
He was like Bizarro Matt Jones, because they used to say Matt Jones
did not practice.
Player. He was crap in practice, and then he'd go out in the games and make everything happen.
I remember that like it's yesterday.
Broden was great in practice and crap in the games.
I still remember that. I still remember people calling in on those radio shows, and I think like Clay Henry would have to sit there and like defend, like, look, he's not good in practice, but once the lights come on, he's incredible. I'm pretty sure it was Clay. It might have been Dudley Dawson. Shout out to Dudley. Need to go have a beer with him at Odd Soul and watch the Celtics hopefully not get knocked out of the playoffs. Ty, oh Lord, this is the last comment I'm reading. Ty, this is gonna be the last comment I read from Hog Blitz. God bless you, Hog Blitz, but I'm not trying to bash Green, but the wide receiver room, or was the wide receiver room maybe like that because he missed many open receivers? They may have been frustrated. Look, again, I don't know what the conversation was. We don't know the specifics of the conversation. If it actually happened, by the way, maybe Pittman will be asked about it in fall camp when it's time for everybody to report. Maybe someone will ask him. But again, like, Andrew Armstrong caught 66% of the passes thrown to him, right? Isaiah Centennial caught about 69%. So these guys were catching the ball. That's a pretty good number. Anytime you're above about 65%, of course, you got to break down targets, right, in what's considered a defended pass or a pass broken up by a defender. But like, you do have guys, Isaac TeSlaa caught almost 78% of his passes thrown to him. So that means he was connecting with these receivers, or these numbers wouldn't be that great. Now, to be fair, also, there could have been a situation where they had to reach behind to make the catch, right? And that's totally fair. And maybe that is something that came up, like he's not hitting me in stride, which was a complaint, which was a valid complaint. I do think, and I'm going to say this one last time, Green only seems to catch the negative when we do these live shows. I have this guy could go out, and I remember my post-game shows, he could go out, have 350 total yards of offense. He makes one fumble, and he's the worst quarterback of all time in Arkansas history. Like, guys, it's not all bad with Green. I'm just telling you, we have seen bad. Hell, Brandon Allen's first couple of years as a starting quarterback was not good. To be fair, what was going on around him, and you had Jim Chaney as an offensive coordinator there for a little while, or for a short while. Matt Jones also did not complete. In fact, I can remember Matt Jones getting criticized for some ugly ass throws. Tyler Wilson, that year after Petrino was fired in 2012, Wilson looked like shit. But you don't ever hear people talk about Wilson like he was a bad quarterback. They only think of that 2011 season. So we need to give Green a little bit of damn credit. Like, the dude at times put this team on his back and got them across, got that big third down conversion on third down and a mile. Like, how many times does that dude do good? No one wants to focus on that. They want to focus on the one or two mistakes. And to be fair, he did turn the ball over a lot. I was very critical of Green on the way he ran with the ball. Some of his throwing it didn't seem like he was on par with the receivers around him. He missed a wheel route throw that was just still blows my mind, and he missed that. Valid. Those are all valid. I'll say it again. But we also need to realize, like, there are other teams in this league that would kill to have a Taylon Green at quarterback. There are teams in this league that would love to have a Taylon Green at quarterback. So it's not all bad. KJ Jackson is not a threat to take his job right now. Could that change? I don't think so, but maybe. So let's, for every 10 questions I take about Green, 90% of them are always bad. And I don't understand it. Again, over 3,700 total yards of offense. We don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about his turnovers. I don't know. I think you ought to do both. Give him a little bit of respect. They weren't getting open. That's the problem. And if they did get open. The line didn't hold up. Yeah, we didn't even talk about the offensive line. Like the offensive line did not do him any favors. That is also fair. That's a good point.
No, and that even goes back to before Taylor Green. That's been a problem for years now.
3 years straight? I mean, they've had quarterbacks that are, it's just like, what's going on with the offensive line? What's up? Why are the running backs leaving the way they are? I don't know. Of course, you got one of them back. AJ Green is back. All right. I think that's really it. Unless you guys have anything else, Tim, anything you on your plate that maybe.
I think we covered it all pretty much. Yeah, I think chat was kind to you for your mistakes tonight, guys. I wouldn't let him off like that, but
I don't know. I was kind of surprised. I thought we'd have someone go full blown Kyle tonight, but nobody did.
Even Kyle didn't go full blown Kyle. So
Kyle's usually Mr. DC. Kyle is usually he's a pretty good dude. He might always be negative during baseball games, but he's, he'll admit when he's kind of wrong about something. He'll kind of own up to it. He doesn't go full blown Kyle. So that's the good news. Anyways, some of us may agree to disagree about Taylor Green. Listen, the funny thing is I actually agree with a lot of the criticisms on Green. I just wish people would also look at the other side. Like, wait a minute, this dude may not actually be as bad as we think. We could also all be wrong, and it could get ugly this year, especially with that schedule. Oh, look at that. Another super chat by King Command. I appreciate that, man. That's $50 by King Command tonight. Have a good night, Ty Woo Pig. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, Tim, thanks for making time for me tonight, man.
Thanks for having me, man. I love doing this.
You want to, plug your the thing you do with your kids.
The thing I do with my kids. All right. So I have a podcast. I don't have a screen to share with you right at the moment, unfortunately. But so I do a comic and comic adjacent with my son called Capes, Cowls, and Conversations. We release about every 10 to 14 days right now because young 20-year-old young men have scheduling issues. But we talk about Marvel and DC, the movies that are out. We talk about some of the cartoons and things on Amazon Prime and Disney Plus. And if you guys have any interest in comics or comic adjacent properties, we just have a good time doing that. It was something that I could do that let me connect with my son. It's not about making money so much. It's not about anything but a good time and just sharing some views and talking. You can find us anywhere that you see podcasts. That includes Spotify, Apple podcasts, Audible, Amazon Music, etc., and YouTube, of course. So I've tried to watch when I have time. I'm trying to catch them. You guys do. It's good stuff. It's really fun. I'm a nerd. Hey, man, I appreciate it. Oh, they did a whole Star Wars thing. You're a Star Wars kind of nerd. I said from the beginning, I'm not a Star Wars nerd. He brought his best friend on there. They talked about Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary that played. So they had a good time with that one, and I just produced it. It was good. It was good. John Haas, man, I will figure out how to do guests. We haven't done a guest yet, but maybe you'll be the first one.
Hey, shout out to John Haas. There you go. Be a guest on the show. I used to be a Star Wars nerd. I haven't been since like Rogue One.
Okay. Yeah, you probably would have loved that conversation. We had little audio issues with the last episode. So don't judge us too much. 27 episodes in, not 1,000 like Ty. So
I am not well put together here, man. You know that. You've worked with me plenty. I am not.
I love working with you. It's a good time.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. Hopefully
Thanks for letting me plug that, buddy.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll have Travis on next week and we can actually get a full 3-man panel here. Hey, make sure you guys, before you're heading out, make sure you like, share, hit the subscribe button. Go subscribe to his channel as well. Follow me on X, Twitter, all that stuff. Shout out to all the Patreon supporters. Man, you guys helped make the last month awesome, and I know you'll do it again. We already did our rolls. I've got your envelopes here. I got to ship these cards off for the month of April, the winners for the month of April for these autographed Arkansas player cards. So shout out to you guys for helping keeping this thing afloat. You really are. If you're giving money to this show, it's super chats as well, you're keeping this thing afloat. So I really do appreciate you guys. That's going to be it. We'll see you either later on in the week. I plan on doing a post game for Tennessee. I don't know how many. Just make sure you're subscribed and you've hit the notification bell. That way you get an alert as soon as I go live. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you guys for watching the very first episode of Monday Night Lights, baby. Let's go!